let's get started. I'm Paul Krofzik with Digital Watchdog. I'm the Director of Training, and we're going to talk about Spectrum Gen 5, 5.1. So a couple things to talk about is we're going to talk about Spectrum, the new features in it, a little Blackjack AI update, and then some Megapix AI update. And then we'll jump into some Q&A if need be. If I can't answer the question right away, I will, try to answer it by email or other forms of communication shortly thereafter. So let's go a little bit into Spectrum. So Spectrum 5.1, we've done a sort of focused a release on simplifying the workflow, but also introduced additional system controls and capabilities. So the features we're going to talk about are cross-system layout, camera replacement, remote client server download, on-VIF profile selection. All right. So the first one is cross-system layout. There's a description on how it works. You create a layout. You open, actually, we'll go to a video. Create a layout. You start dragging cameras into the layout. And then you open your other systems menu, which is below your users and your web page. And if you have permissions from any of these sites, you can grab one, go in and look for the camera, and you can see a thumbnail for the camera. Don't want that one. Don't want that one. We'll go up to a different site till we find the camera we want to add to our layout. So these systems don't have to be merged. Okay. We have our couple systems there, Tampa. Now this is we're going to go back to this. This is a screen that pops up when you first use it, but this allows you then to drag over different cameras from different systems. All right, so you can have someone with multiple systems around and they can see the different cameras on them. Let's say they want to have a layout of all the front doors of their buildings or loading docks or just a general view of what's going on at certain locations with different layouts. Now you can have, in this case, Tampa and California on the same layout from different systems with different owners. All right, so again, they don't have to be merged. So the little pop-up screen is actually kind of nice. The available actions in it right now is live video and archive, which means you can play back video. You can export video, you can do PTZ cameras, and you can do motion search. On these layouts right now, you can't search bookmarks, objects, events, and do show reels yet. But I think in the near future, there's going to be an update that does that. And then, of course, you can click to bring up our manual, which is really kind of cool. And then click that. Don't show this window again. So the next time you're doing it, you're not getting the screen to pop up to tell you all about it. So again, I think that's a really good feature for folks that have different sites that are not merged, but want to bring over cameras from different sites to their main surveillance setup. So let's go to the next one, which is camera replacement. So it was always a little difficult to replace cameras before. There was always the extra archive there and stuff like that. This makes it very, very easy. If we go over here, actually get a better idea, is we can choose a camera. Let's say the camera's down. I'm going to pause this. All right. And we go to, we'll let it go there. Camera replace. And now these are the list of available cameras. The cameras can be recording or not recording cameras. They just have to be available on the system. Okay. And when they replace it, the only thing you might have to do is add recordings. Okay. Turn back on the recording. Okay. And you will have to redo if you did your motion settings to redo it, because camera may have slightly different angles and stuff like that. Maybe a completely different camera. So keep that in mind. But the camera replacement now will put the archives together. So I give the example if someone had some 1 or 2 megapixel cameras and they went to a 5 megapixel or 4K camera, right? Well, they can go from that 2 megapixel in the same archive with the same name and everything without only a slight interruption to what's on the timeline there as far as recording. So it's an easier way to do it. So our next one, though, is remote log retrieval. So this is another one where our tech support could retrieve the logs and, take a look at them for troubleshooting. But now if you have the proper rights, you can go in and download. This is a single server you're logged into to check. But if we go over here, and again, bring up multi-server, we can bring up and download the client that's connected along with the server logs from each of these servers. So I chose one machine. I can look at the settings and, what's the maximum size I want to mess with, what warning level I want in the logs. Do I just want to split file by time or by size? And I could just click download. And then there we go. It'll start downloading. And depending on the amount of logs you have, it's could take a very short period of time, or it could take a little while. And then you go locate them. In this case, see, I've got it in my, just dumped it to my documents folder. And there's the server, BJ, AI, MT, deep learning. You open it up and compressed it quite a lot. See, each file is about 10 meg inside for the log. So again, really a good feature for you guys who are installing and maintaining these things, but also great for our tech support because now we don't have to do any shenanigans to log in to take a look at stuff. So the next though is we have an enhanced search, and I wanted to kind of pause this because we've had a search bar over here for a while. You could search for resources, so you could find cameras, files you've laid out and stuff like that. Over here though was your search for your possibly for bookmarks, but since we've added the analytics, we've added this objects menu. And so before, when we were searching for something that had text in it, I'm using your license plates as an example, I typed in a partial plate, and before it had to be the first 3 characters of the plate. Now it can be inside the plate. So now I'm just looking through and seeing, hey, okay, got the plate over there going in, and then I can see when this vehicle came in and out. So it's a good gauge of, some car wandering around your parking lot and all that. So the other is the advanced search, which has the same functionality in it. And sometimes this gets lost and people don't use it. So I typed in another, random set of numbers, and there's 731s at the end of a plate. This one has the handicap sticker and then the, 731 right there, and it picks it up. And you can play back the event. You've got your little event window here and the tag number. All right. And then its list or other attributes in there. So again, so this is from one of our new cameras that's we're releasing sometime the end of August, I believe, that has the video analytics and the ANPR in it, automatic number plate reading. And then that information can be transferred into Spectrum and be used by Spectrum. Brian, that's a good question. I'll answer it at the end. All right, we have a Q&A at the end. I will keep that up on my screen, but that's a good question. So we will then move on. They've also enhanced Showreel. So now Showreel, I always thought it worked good. This way they've enhanced the way it works with the newer video cards out there and processors. And you can now go in and use proxied web pages to it, or which means web pages that are behind the firewall. You can bring your cameras in, set your different times for your different cameras, or video files or other resources. My thing would be like, maybe the local weather, one web page, it stays up there for 30 seconds, then the local traffic, and then maybe some cameras that are looking at the actual live traffic by a building or something like that. And you can do Showreel, start the Showreel, and it will continue to play on the systems, and you can force the Spectrum to actually start with the Showreel running. So now, we're going through the different cameras. Again, some of these cameras have the video analytics areas active. So you see them like AI intrusion, parking lot, line cross, a tailgating line, and so on in there. And this is the ANPR camera. So you can see it allows you to go through the different views. It's full screen. You don't have the sort of GUI in the way while you're going on. Same with you, Jeff. I'll answer your question at the end. So they've also made audit trail improvements. One of the things you couldn't see, now I couldn't find it. There's a little thing that says cloud disconnect in here, and I couldn't find the error message because I haven't had cloud disconnects. But in the audit trail now, you can see in your login, log out, you can see your one of your actions is it's your disconnections. So they're now logged in the audit trail, and you can see them in the audit trail. Not a big deal, but if you're looking at, hey, do they got a bad internet connection? Are we in this area of where we have, I don't want to say bad internet, but bad access to the internet somewhere down the line. Maybe they got to change providers or something like that, but allows you to see what's going on in there. And the audit trail allows you to see who's logging in. You can watch what they're playing back and watch what they watched live. And oh, look at this. This person did something with a user, and you can go in there and check those user settings for that. So the audit trail allows you to do all that stuff. Did it send, emails, anyone exporting video, anyone change anything? So the audit trail is great. They've made some improvements to it to make it a little more friendly. There's also other client updates. So the client logs independent of the server can be downloaded also. Okay, so it's the same menu you can just download. So your local client is acting up. All right, you can go in and download that information from it, and maybe take a look at it yourself and say it's a little weird. Maybe something is going on inside the OS, or if our tech support asked for it. And then power management. Before it used to, the power management Spectrum used to fight because we're using a lot of system resources. Now they'll allow a computer to enter sleep mode on idle. So if the video's paused, after 15 minutes of inactivity, and the computer says, hey, I want to sleep, I want to go into that hibernation mode, it'll go in and enter the hibernation mode. Spectrum won't stop it from doing that. Just a little side thing there, but helps when dealing with different customers running different versions of, slightly different versions of Windows, whether they're running laptops or desktops and things like that. So fisheye cameras. So they've added stereographic support for certain cameras. Okay, our camera is a true fisheye. And then, of course, you've got your equidistant and equal solid. So depending on the manufacturer of the cameras and if they list it in their specs, you can try. Usually you can, there's 3 things you can try in there to see if it does. Usually, though, if they say it's stereographic, you hit stereographic auto calibrate. It auto calibrates nicely. Really, what you want to do is have no black right up to the edge of the round circle, and then it can do its fisheye thing. Those of you guys haven't seen it fisheye in action, it's really, amazing what it does. It straightens it out. It gets the curve out of the camera. And so we're looking at this loading dock through our 9 megapixel camera. Camera's got to be some 30 feet in the air, 25 at least. And you can go through and just create more and more zoom windows on it. And these zoom windows you can play back. You can set up motion search if you have video analytics tied to it. Do video analytics searches on it. And if you look, see it's going in here this way. Even the round one can be useful because it can act like a PTZ camera. Very nice setup. And David Luddy, I will do that for you, sir. So anyway, that's just showing it playing back. And you can play back in the same thing. It's really a phenomenal setup is what we have. So also what they've done is every manufacturer is coming out with higher and higher resolution cameras. And so they're designing Spectrum to handle many more higher resolution cameras on the screen. And so that's one of the improvements is it can handle many more 4K cameras, 10 megapixel cameras, 20 megapixel cameras. Because we're part of the culprit too. We are selling more and more high resolution cameras, have more and more on the market. And so, you got to have the system that maybe came out when 2 megapixel cameras were popular, but now they're not popular anymore. And low res is now 4. So you got to build a system to handle all these higher and higher resolution cameras. We'll see 8K cameras hitting the market and all kinds of stuff. So again, designed to handle many more cameras on the screen. You can do 64 cameras on the screen. Just a great design. So next thing that added was a minor thing, is an event and rules on any camera action. It also says also record the source camera. This wasn't on every action now, or now it is. So in this case, it's camera recording, but on other actions, like it was sound to go off, you sometimes wouldn't allow you just click and add the source camera, which is easier than going to the pull down menu and finding the camera, especially if you got a list of long cameras, your actions are source, and your source camera and your at camera are the same, your event and action. So it makes it easier to find it. This one's record, so you can tell it, I want to record best at 30 frames a second for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, depending on the type of analytic event. I just put one in there just to show you what was going on. Another addition is not with the standard client, the full client, is the web client. And that is, we've added the ability to download video. So you have to have the camera you can view up on the view there. And then you go and you just check your time. I got, a minute or so of information there, but you don't have to do that. And you can just click export. The trick is, though, I'm going to click save here. You highlight the green area. If you try to highlight the area with the numbers in it, it doesn't work. You highlight the green areas and then it'll just start downloading, and saving a file for you. It saves it in an MKV format, which is a very small format, but it will require you, mine played in Windows Media Player, but I might have the right codec in there, but at least have VLC on your system to play it back. Windows 11 might be kinder to it. And then, of course, you can see one of our megapixel AI cameras. We've got a counter going on this line, and then line crossing being displayed on it, because this is one of our AI cameras. Also on the web interface is a new dark mode. So now you can go dark mode and go in, and then the interface, I don't know if it makes a huge difference, but I find that sort of dark gray, black interface, I tend to use it on a lot of stuff now because it seems easier on the eyes, but they've added it to the web interface. So next thing we're going to go into is cyber security. All right, we're making the systems more secure. We push for SSL or TLS certificates to cut down or even render impossible man-in-the-middle attacks. All right, and that can be done in the client. Okay, so recommended certificate validation. And we're going to talk a little bit in a few minutes about certificate validations and what it means. We've also added two-factor authentication. You turn this on and you can use one of the authentication apps. There's the Google Authenticator, there's the Microsoft, and there's one called Duo Mobile. And so what it does is allows you to go in, it queries your authenticator, say, do you want this thing to log in? You say yes. So you got the two-factor authentication, less likely to get into, someone weaseling their way into your system. Let's see. Also for security, and again, I don't know, you guys dig into this, probably have seen, is also we have archive encryption. So now you're encrypting camera to server, client to server, and then you can encrypt the archive. So you can now have a much higher level of security on the data. There is a caveat here, pops up this little thing saying password can't be reset. If you lose it, the archive is probably not recoverable. So you got to keep that in mind, that whatever password you're putting in there, complex, crazy password you're going to put in there, make sure you have it recorded somewhere properly for backup. All right. Next, let's talk about connections, though. So some of you guys will sometimes log into a connection, log into a site, and it'll be the first time. So the first time it connects to the site, that means it has no information about the certificates on that server. So the system provides either a custom or self-sign or public certificate. The connection to server is a first made prompt stating that the SSL certificate not be verified automatically. You can still approve it, okay? And the certificate will be stored in the client. And then there shouldn't be another warning message that comes up unless, they uninstall the client and then they got to log back in again. So this is for an unknown system. A known system is like if there's mismatch, you get this pop-up and there's mismatch certificates. Again, can't verify the identity of the server. They can click continue. Again, this is for greater security and what's going on, inside the system, so we can have a solid, secure connection between the two systems. But I wanted to explain what these pop-ups were, because there's the unknown system and then there's the known system. So let's talk about Blackjack AI updates. And one of the updates is if you have a Blackjack server, it looks like one of our other servers, except it's got this Blackjack AI server configuration. So we've got IP Finder, we've got Spectrum you can launch for your configuration, but we're going to launch the setup here. We're going to find some other cameras to make AI cameras, because this will take any stream, whether it's an RTSP stream, DW camera, someone else's camera, and a stream. As long as it's an intelligible stream by Spectrum, it can be analyzed in our video analytics. All right, so we're going to go over here. We're going to choose our camera. We're going to turn it on. Click apply. We're going to go to rules. I click add. I just paused it here. So we have the same intrusion, enter, exit, loitering, appear, disappear, stopped, line cross. People seem to use line cross a lot, tailgate a lot, intrusion a lot, which creates an area. And I actually like creating, there's ND area, non-detect area. So this way the system is not worrying about a tree flapping in the breeze or whatever on another setup. So we're going to go to intrusion here. Oh, there we go. And so when we go to intrusion, we're going to see we've got consolidated. We used to have cyclist and bicycles, so we've consolidated a few things. We've added forklift because we're do a lot of commercial stuff, and they seem to want forklift in there. And then we've designated van, truck, car, okay, as designation in the system. So it's changed a little bit. And of course, you can do color recognition and things like that. Oh, sorry about that. It's my system complaining I didn't hook up my backup. So when your rules are all set, oh, didn't autoplay. You then can go into Spectrum and create your rules. And you can also, though, go to plugins and see your plugin and what it does. Now, this plugin setup, we're going to scroll through this. All right. And we're going to see calibration, classification, tamper, advanced, whatever. This is all stuff that the Blackjack AI server is reporting to Spectrum. A couple of these things you can change, but better to go to the server and make the change than do it here. This is just so you have an idea of what's going on in there. And then most people who are logged in, if they're an advanced viewer, don't see the plugin menu anyway. Right? Did it go? There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. So again, we're looking at the different rules in the Blackjack AI setup software. So we're setting up a line cross. All right. And we're going to say, uncheck all these. And we're going to make a person there. Now, I could have made it an intrusion, but I'm a glutton for punishment. And set up another line cross here. Again, don't care about any of the other stuff. It would be great if there was a forklift up there. Click apply. And so on. So I could have boxed this in. Someone walking from this way, it creates a line cross event. I could have created an intrusion, could have put loitering down there. I could have multiple one. I could have the line cross up here. And then if someone's loitering down here using logical rules, it creates an event. So that's just some of the updates in there. It added a bunch of how the deep learning works. So when it's looking at a scene, it's better at identifying different animals and ignoring them. Okay, so it's not there. It's designed for surveillance. People are the ones usually doing the nefarious things. And then, You have your people monitor vehicles, trucks, cars, and vans. Is there a bicyclist nearby and stuff like that? So really kind of a, designed for surveillance and security. So next thing we're going to talk about is Megapix AI. So what that is the same type of algorithms that's in the server, we've also parked in the camera. Okay, so we have, I think, 4 models now. We're going to release a bunch more in the near future. And so we're just going to log in here and show you a couple of them. If I can find them. There we go. X-class cameras right there. And then we've released a new dual imager 10 megapixel camera, so 5 megapixel each. You can choose which one has the video analytics. And you see this one's sort of set up to look from this corner to that corner all the way on the front. This is the unreleased Megapix ANPR camera, which also has the video analytics in it. And again, we have notifications of the vehicles going through, and then when it picks up the plate, it'll also display the plate information there. And then we have a dome and a bullet also with the analytics built into the camera. So there's no need for any sort of analytic license. If you go with one of our systems like the CX that it has Spectrum in it, but doesn't have video analytics engine in it, you can go in and plug that in and it will get the analytics from the camera. So the camera is driving it. It is sending its data to there. You can see I'm just swapping things on the layout. Yeah, this is the dual camera. As you can see, we got the folks walking over here. Sort of drove that forward. You can see them, they're walking over here. So we've got this corner of the building all the way to here. A little bit of overlap, and that can be fixed by, of course, adjusting the lenses in and out. They're fully adjustable in and out. So really a cool camera setup. And these are available for sale. So, and a very small profile. I was actually expecting the case to be much bigger, and the really small profile outdoor IP60, IP67, I think, camera. All right. So next is inside the Blackjack AI camera. So again, inside the camera, it's the same rules. Sorry, my voice changed there. Same rules. Intrusion, line cross, enter, exit, appear, disappear. Those items in there for rules, or actually the algorithms in there. And then here we've got your different items. This will be consolidated into in an update shortly, but it's person. See, they've got it separated: cycle, bicycle, motorcycle. They're going to put those down, the car, van, truck, and you can set it up for line cross, whatever. And as you can see, we can display the data if we want. You can see the data being displayed here on the system to tell you that there was a line cross there. If you have a counter, see, so I've added a car counter in, and then it'll just count the cars that go by, not the trucks, just cars that go by, which I thought was a pretty interesting functionality in there. So let's talk about support. So we want to remind you guys to sign up if you haven't already for our CPP program, because it allows you access to our Double Down program, which basically gets you free licenses in Spectrum. We have enhanced margin, project pricing. We protect the projects that are brought into us, demo support, sales lead allocations, which means if we get a lead in, it's in your territory, you're one of our CPP guys, you get the lead. Bunch of other stuff we can do. Also, though, if you go to our website, doing live trainings, me personally, a few other guys will be doing them also, but I am doing one in Minneapolis next week, Wednesday. And then we have them coming up in Chicago, Toronto, Montreal, Portland, Houston, San Antonio. So we have a bunch coming up, and those, if you click on Cert Training here, you go to webinars, and then they'll show you the things you have, the available trainings you have near you. So let's hit the Q&A.